you for having me, Rachel. It's always a pleasure.
Yay.
And thank you for being, listening to you talking about what the Voiceover Network does. That's amazing. So I love that you said we support the community. That's great. Thank you.
There is one glorious energy here. So whatever success, inspiration, wonder you see in Rachel or Alan or myself, that is you. We are a reflection of each other. We are a homogenized group. We are one functioning band. We are a riot of love.
Thank you, Rachel.
And the crowd goes wild.
It's really nice to be here with you today. I'm psyched. I'm totally psyched.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. I love being part of your world. Thanks.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the Voiceover Network presents the Voiceover Hour live webinar. Welcome. It's so wonderful to have you guys joining us. I know we have people joining us from around the world, which is very, very exciting. So today we have a very special webinar lined up for you guys. It's all about video games, animations, and all things character voices with the amazing Eliza Jane Schneider. Now, I want to welcome everyone, members of the Voiceover Network and non-members. I'm just going to start by giving a special shout out to our wonderful members who work so hard to be the best voice actors they can be, and who also help and support each other in this amazing community. So thank you. Just to let you know, this webinar is being recorded, and all members of the Voiceover Network get access to this recording and to the recordings of all the past Voiceover Hour live webinars from the last 6.5 years. Amazing. My name's Rachel Naylor. I am a voice actor. I have been for over 20 years. I'm also editor of the Buzz magazine, host of the Voiceover Hour, and founder and director of the Voiceover Network. Oh, and I'm also an award-winning entrepreneur. My voiceover credits, there's lots, but just some of them include video games. I'm Alariel the Ever Queen in the Total War Warhammer games. I'm Gemma in Wolfenstein Youngbloods, Pharaoh the Cockney Fox in Mutant Year Zero, plus loads more. Commercials and recent clients include Disney, Starbucks, Virgin Media, BMW, the Travel Channel, Shaw, Purcell, Tony and Guy, and many more. The Voiceover Network is all about helping, supporting, and strengthening the voiceover industry. We are a global community for voiceover professionals of all levels. Now, what I like to do, because these webinars are amazing, we're able to connect with people all around the world. Aha, I can see some of you, you're in there already, you know what's coming. Please tell me where you are in the world. I want everybody to go to the chat box now, and every single one of you type in where you are in the world. And this is where I get to give you all a shout out and find out where everyone is and see how many different continents we've got, and yes, where everybody is in the world, because it's amazing with these webinars. We can literally connect with people in all corners of the world. So go to the chat box and type where you are. I'm going to take a deep breath and try and get to these as quickly as possible. Quickly as possible, not properly, possible. Right, hello KwaZulu Natal, South Africa. We have Atlanta. We've got sunny Surrey. Hello, Oklahoma, Cornwall, Alabama. We've got Saskatchewan. We've got Grand Bahama, Yorkshire, Valencia, Spain, Tennessee, Toronto, Los Angeles, Cardiff, New York, California, London, LA, Portland, Oregon, New York City, Northamptonshire, London, Atlanta, Worthing, California, San Francisco Bay, East London, Saskatchewan, Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. I can't see Rachel on my screen. Can you see her? I am here. Hello Scotland. We've got Washington, Western Maryland, New York City, Essex. We've got Durham, sunny Florida or rainy Florida, North Hollywood. We've got London. We have Israel, now lives in Berlin, Germany. Hello, Berlin, Germany. We've got Long Beach, Philadelphia, Cheltenham, Camden, Vancouver, Portugal. Hello, Portugal. We've got Massachusetts, South London, Norfolk. We've got Maryland, we've got LOL. We have LA, and we have Washington. Wonderful. Well, welcome everybody, wherever you are in the world. It is absolutely wonderful to have you joining us, whether it's morning, evening, middle of the night. The Voiceover Network is the Voiceover Network is the #1 place for voiceover professionals to get the best training, amazing opportunities, and be part of an incredible community. From online resources, access to the Buzz magazine, workshops, discounts, home studio help and support, and much more. And we are also working very hard to strengthen this amazing industry that we all work in. It's so great to see so many of you, including new people. Now, I know there are quite a few of you. This is your first ever Voiceover Hour live webinar, so a special shout out and welcome to all of you. Just so you know, if you're not a member of the Voiceover Network, I've got something special at the end of this webinar. So I'm going to be doing a special 20-minute free Q&A with me, where I'm going to tell you lots of things about the Voiceover Network, see what I can do for you and your career, and yes. So stick around. There's lots to be shared with you at the end of this if you're not a member of the Voiceover Network. Now, I know you members, some of you stick around for that and come in and help and talk to those and answer questions. So do stick around if you want to, but that is just at the end of this webinar. Now, I started the Voiceover Network because I wanted to create a safe place for voiceover professionals to come together to get the right help, support, and advice. And that's exactly what we've done. I want to give a shout out and a hello to Alan, who is our business development manager. Hello, Alan.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, everyone. Any questions, guys, just pop them in the chat.
Yes. Wonderful. So do ask questions. We're going to try and get through as many as we can. I know that these webinars go very quickly, but we will try and get through as many questions as we can. Now, the other thing that I love and we love here at the Voiceover Network is social media. Yes, social media can help you in so many ways. So please do get on social media and tell the world what you think of this webinar. Make sure you tag me, Rachel Naylor. I'm Rachel.Naylor on Instagram, and also tag the Voiceover Network. Please make sure you use the hashtag VON webinar, VON webinar, and we will make sure to retweet, share, like, comment all your posts to our thousands of followers. So please do that. I particularly like Instagram stories, Rachel.Naylor. Do tag me in those and I will reshare it to all my followers. Wonderful. Right, so that's the housekeeping out of the way. Now for the show. Now to introduce our amazing guest. I'm so pleased to have the incredible Eliza Jane Schneider, who is a veteran actor and dialect coach, whose clients include celebrities, politicians, A-list directors, AAA video game companies, major studios such as Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal, Paramount, Fox, DreamWorks, Hulu, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Comedy Central. Amazing. Renowned for voicing the female population of Comedy Central's South Park, Eliza has an extensive list of credits in some of the most popular animations and video game credits, which include World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, Agents of Mayhem, Lego Marvel Avengers, and many more. Welcome, Eliza.
Hi. Thanks for having me, Rachel.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us today. It's an absolute honor to have you on our webinar. Yay. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, so good to have you here. So share with us. So how did you get started in this wacky, wonderful industry that we work in?
Are you talking about specifically voiceover or
Voiceover
acting in general?
Yeah. Well, yeah. How did you kind of come to be in voiceovers?
Let's see. So I was already acting.
Okay.
I've been acting since I was a wee one.
Ah.
The knee high to a grasshopper. So let's see. I did like 3 plays a year till I was in my 20s, and then I got on camera. I got on 2 back-to-back 2 Saturday morning CBS shows. One was called The Amazing Live Sea Monkeys with Howie Mandel, 3 giant life-size sea monkeys, and myself. I was the token
Amazing.
female on that show. And then that show was replaced by a show called Beekman's World, and I auditioned for that, and replaced myself. And then so I went across America 10 times in a converted ambulance, recording people's dialects on a Sony DAT Walkman right off of Beekman's World. I had my first sort of free month of my life to do whatever I wanted with. And I had a little bit of money from being on the show. And I took my fall quarter, my senior year at UCLA, off to finish filming Beekman's World. And I had this month. And so I went across America recording dialects. And I transcribed a whole bunch of the interviews that I got and turned it into a solo show, which I performed in the conference room at ICM. They made me turn it into like a 45-minute thing. And, as an artist, it was like, but it's 90 minutes. How am I going to cut my art for you? But I did. And then, then Corey Weissman, who was the animation guy, took me on and started sending me out on auditions. Got something in 1997. I got like a Johnny Bravo, like one little gig. And then South Park came along in 2000 and everybody was auditioning for that. And that's when I started developing this thing that I teach now, this looping method, because I only had a week to match like 8 series regular, big, iconic voices. And so I distilled this process that I had going with this Roland SP808 groove sampler, which was like outboard gear that you could like push a button and record and then push another button and stop. And it was something I used when I used to paint myself blue and sing at raves. That was another
another life.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. So
you don't have to use the outboard gear now. We use like software, but
yes,
at the time it was a convenient way to loop and learn voices quickly.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about the South Park, because I mean that must be amazing to be part of such an kind of huge, iconic, really, animation.
Yeah,
Groundbreaking, really, wasn't it?
It's so cool. It's I remember I actually went to the Craft Emmys, and Seth MacFarlane was on a show with me it was originally called The Freshman, and then they changed it. It was called 3 South. It was on for like a really short period of time, and Phil Lamar was on that, and Seth was on that. It was really early, and Seth invited me to the Craft Emmys, and I got all dressed up like I was going to the prom and stuff. I got my makeup done and everything, and we got there, and South Park was showing like a video about how they did the Osama bin Laden episode, and how what's cool about South Park is that it's like Saturday Night Live. Like you don't know what the hell's going to happen until like they record the day before broadcast. It's unheard of in animation.
Wow.
Yeah, we would be there until like 2 a.m. recording for broadcast at noon on Wednesday. And I mean, and also they were able to get back in the day when like it mattered what day it was, like when you're not binge watching everything anyway on Netflix. What would be going on Sunday would be on television on Wednesday in animation, which is crazy. Of course, everybody on the staff was up all night, but we loved it.
Wow, how exciting. Yeah, it must have been very cool. And so how many characters did you voice?
Hundreds. I don't know, all the women, all females. Lots.
Yeah, awesome.
But my favorite one was Shelly. Will always be Shelly. She will always be very close to my heart. Are you staring at my neck brace? Love her. She comes, she's very convenient. I can bring her out, the grocery store, in bed. Only when I'm angry.
That's brilliant. Wonderful. And so has that always been something that you just were able to do, or was it something that you feel like you worked on, or did it just come naturally?
Well, it's like one of those things that I can't stop doing. It's so funny. My son has been listening to me teach, and he's 10 now, and he's been listening to me teach online this dialect masterclass since he was 4. And just last week he did like a Russian character and a posh character and a Cockney. He did the Artful Dodger, Zazu from The Lion King, and Veruca Salt's dad in this camp cabaret. And I didn't coach him on anything, and his dialects were impeccable.
Wow.
It was awesome. But my dad's a drama teacher. My dad was my drama teacher at the School of the Arts at the high school. He's a playwright and a screenwriter. And it's just something, to me, it was sort of sound, music, dialects. It was all kind of the same thing, you know, just this fascination with mimicry and sounds and picking things up. So yeah, it's sort of a lifelong passion.
Which is so interesting and fascinating. And did you travel a lot as a child? Because that often I hear when people kind of are very, very natural at kind of slipping into different accents, it's usually because they've traveled a lot or they've moved a lot.
I mean, we did move a little, but you know, we moved from Colorado to Minnesota, and interestingly, Minnesota is one of the dialects that's the most challenging for me to coach because I don't hear the sounds as distinctive. This is one of the common misconceptions about dialects, and one of the issues that a lot of actors are having now. I teach this. I taught an Asian survey just last month, and all of my Asian American second generation, you know, students who sound like I'm talking right now, they don't hear their parents' dialects. They don't hear those sounds as distinctive. So they can't like pick them out. And so they're, you know, when a casting director or director says, "Oh, you're Korean, do Korean," I find that my Japanese and Mandarin speaking students do better Korean than the Korean students. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's really an interesting time. And one of the ones I'm going to teach pretty soon is voices in your blood, where like, because of the trends in casting right now, I'm having all my students just do 23andMe or get their DNA figured out. And then we just write characters for everything that we can find in there and just become a master of that stuff, because casting directors are scared right now and they just really want to make sure that they don't step on any toes culturally. And I mean, we can't really probably get into this, but acting is cultural appropriation. It's kind of what we do. It's the craft. So it's unless you're just always playing yourself, but that's not really acting.
I love that you know, the whole kind of going back to your ancestry. My mum did her DNA thing recently, and it's really interesting when you're like, oh my gosh, I've got a bit of that. I mean, we've all got a bit of, you know, so many different, you know, countries and cultures within us, and it's just I love that. That's
my mom did it, and she was like, "I'm 97% Ashkenazi. Who knew?" And I'm like, "No, we all knew, Mom. We all knew."
Oh, wonderful. And so in terms of obviously everyone watching, everyone in the world, we've gone through a crazy year. Lots has happened with the pandemic. How have you adjusted, and how has it affected your kind of workflow and stuff?
The pandemic? Well, you know, this thing we do online, you've been doing it for 6 years and I've been doing it since 2015, and honestly it's the same. Like I mean, certainly people are having some Zoom fatigue.
I had a technology detox a couple of months in April. I found myself, I had to take a technology detox. I had to get away from Zoom for a week.
That sounds amazing. No, I mean, I think, you know, I've always been a little unorthodox in the way I approach this business. I've lived, you know, that first vehicle, I went across America recording dialects and stories and making my first one-woman show, which I'm actually performing in November. Pretty soon. I'm doing it at the Mandavi Center at UC Davis, which is like, I just went to see the venue last weekend on my way up, and it was huge. It was amazing. I'm so excited. That's really one of the most satisfying things that I've ever done, is like gone out and generated my own material. And that's one of the things I do with my advanced students in the Character Acting Academy, is we create our own material, like generate your own material. But I lived in the ambulance, then I lived in a 1964 Metro International bread truck. Hard to find parts for a commercial vehicle built in 1964. and a Westphalia, and a Eurovan, and the Virgin Fire was just trimaran. And I would send my auditions. And this is like 2006. I'd send my auditions, and I had an agreement with my agent at William Morris where he didn't tell anybody I was ever out of town. When I first started doing, there was that Minnesota. Oh, out of town. I don't notice I'm doing it sometimes. No, but he had this. We had this agreement. I had a 1-800 pager. So that nobody would know if I was in town or not. And so that's how I always sort of functioned. And now it's become the norm. Like, you can live wherever you want, work from wherever you want. And I love it. I love that I love that the industry is like spreading out, and a lot of my students from all over the world are able to work on some of these big projects, or at least be considered for them.
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. Where it's like, it used to be, you had to be either in LA, New York, or London. And now you can be anywhere, and you can be working on the most incredible jobs. And I mean, we had Jennifer Trujillo on the other day, and she was talking about how, at Disney, they're auditioning people all over the world now. And we were all like, yay.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Which is great. So that's exciting. And so, as a, obviously very successful voice actor yourself, and you do teach as well. What is it that you see that successful voice actors are doing? Is there something that you see that they do that is different to those that maybe are struggling to get traction?
I was noticing about, what we're talking about, people who are coming up, right?
Yeah.
And I have certain students. Am I allowed to call out their names and be like,
yeah,
kicking ass? So Caleb Yen is one of the people who is kicking ass right now. He just had something on Netflix that came out that he was doing the English voice for, and Lila Burzins is one of my students, and Xanthi Wynn, and these, the people who really seem to actually get traction and start working on the projects that they want to. They're the ones who are persistent and have this like can-do attitude. That nothing can stop them. And they all have different personalities, but like, for example, Caleb came up to me at Comic-Con, and I was doing a business of voiceovers panel with Jeff Danis from ICM, and I had, after the panel, I really wanted to get to the Lego booth with my kid, who was like 5 or 6 at the time. And if any of you've been to Comic-Cons, it's like, trying to get through those crowds is insane. And I had all my, my banner and all my crap with me, and my like rolly bag. And Caleb like rolled my rolly bag for me all the way through the convention, and like parted the sea of people so that I could get my Lego for my kid. And it's just like, when you see the people with whom you wish to network as human beings who have needs, and like need to get that Lego set or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And you just like reach out on a friend level, and because it's like Harrison Ford said, it's a service occupation. It's how can I help you? What can my voice do for your company or whatever? How can I make this better? How can I help? And that's why, training and improving your skill set, it makes you invaluable to the casting people. I mean, the idea is to help the people that you want to give you work, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And to connect you. So there's that. And like Lila just came right up to me at a party and was like, I was playing my fiddle, and she just had this exuberant kind of like loving, open, yes, it's the yes, please. What's her name? Amy Poehler wrote a book called Yes, Please. And it's a variation on the improv game, Yes, and, the principle. And it's that attitude of yes, please, I think is part of what separates the people who actually start to work and get traction from the people who may be 10 times as talented, but are perfectionists and are shooting themselves in the foot, editing themselves, getting in their own way, stopping themselves before they ever get a chance to get those 40 rejections that, Dr. Seuss got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's the thing. And and I talk about this in marketing a lot, but perfection is overrated. And, it's, there is no, you've got to get out there. You've got to be seen. You've got to, throw your hat in the ring, get up to bat, all those kinds of things in order to be part of in the running.
And there's something really powerful. Lily Tomlin said this in one of the interviews. You can find it online. It's with these two young women from a girls' school, and she said there is magic in being bold. Basically, it's not a direct quote, but the boldness of the ask. I was listening to NPR just the other day, and there's this thing called Hidden Brain. It wasn't NPR. It's called Hidden Brain. It's a podcast, and it talked about the influence that just the simple act of asking. Like the power in that, because most people don't want to say no because we're pack animals and we're all like deeply afraid of rejection on some level. So just the act of asking is powerful. So just putting yourself out there is so much powerful than not.
And there is there's talking about it and being open to possibilities as well, opening yourself up to amazing things that can happen in your life. I think is a big part of it too. So yes, which is exciting, and just
going for it and doing your homework. Like when you get the advice, you take action immediately. That's another thing. Like one of my friends from high school, so there were these two guys in high school. There was Tay and Shane, or his name was Scott at the time, and I was in West Side Story in high school and played Maria against
I love West Side
Bernardo,
Story.
right? But the really super uber crazy talented guy who was like the best visual artist, the best singer, and the best actor didn't become a huge superstar. But the guy who got Bernardo and not Tony became Tay Diggs. He's like, because he just continued, to put himself out there. So it's not necessarily always about the talent itself. You have to have that, obviously, but doing your homework and putting yourself out there, it's definitely like, if it's a tortoise and a hare thing, the tortoise is the one that wins the race.
Definitely. And how do you deal with, because obviously you've worked on some amazing projects and things, but obviously you don't book everything that you audition for. How do you deal with rejection or the difficult side of the voiceover industry? Because there is, and we all all have it,
I rock in the corner. I've trained myself to stop caring about once I record it, it's done. But I honestly don't think that challenge ever completely subsides. I do notice that I book way more when I'm a happy person, when I'm getting laid properly, when I have enough to eat and sleep, and just basic self-care. I book like crazy, and that was along the lines of this weird phenomenon that every time I would leave Los Angeles, I would book. So I think it's a matter of having it's the same as anything else. You got to have that family first. You got to have the strong support system. You got to have self-care, and you have to not put the burden of your retirement on the shoulders of your dreams until you're absolutely ready for that. So people who are like, oh, if I have a side job, then I'm not really an actor. That's not helping. What helps is knowing that you're going to be fed, and knowing that you've got some income coming in, so that you can really have that space to be an artist.
And be creative, because when we're worried, and then we retract, and we can't be as creative. When we're comfortable, we feel safer, we're able to be more creative, and we're able to stretch and reach and do more. So absolutely.
And as far as keeping that going, work begets work. Momentum is a real thing, and that's the only, from all the agents that I've had and discussed this with in the slow times and the prolific times, it's momentum is thing. So once you start to work it, that's when you want to start to really clear your plate and focus and make sure that you don't piss anybody off. I don't know, I've been doing that a lot in my career. I get to teach from my mistakes.
Oh gosh. So and you do, so obviously you work in lots of different areas, but video games and animation, and from your side, what do you see as the major difference
Oh, between
you
video
as an
games and
actor?
animation? Well,
Yeah.
mostly, because I teach dialects,
Yeah.
animation, anything goes. You're going for the laugh, the stereotypes that are actually true.
Yeah.
Some of them, the broad sort of pick 6 for the quick fix, 6 sort of sound substitutions that are distinctive for each accent. That anything goes in animation, and you're really going for the laugh. Most of the time. There are different styles of animation, obviously, but with games, you have to pass as a local. They're going for the Oscar. And one of my favorite quotes from the sound guy at 2K, where I was patched into the mocap studio, was, "They're more professional than the professionals."
Yeah.
So they take themselves very, 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 very seriously, and for good reason. I had a 9-year-old kid come up to me once and was like, "I died with you." People play these games for like 22 hours straight. It's not like just going to a movie. It's way more of a commitment than that, and so you have to live, you have to be the character. So that's where you really want to have your homework done ahead of time if you want to. And in my purview, dialects and accents are basically just the voice of the character, right? And every character is going to have a different voice than you have. Because they're not you. And everyone has an idiolect. Like when I do dialect research, even within the same family, people have a different voice print, different sort of. An idiolect is like an individual dialect, right? So a kid is going to speak differently than her parents. You're going to speak differently to your boss than you speak to your girlfriend. There's the code switching. There's all kinds of stuff involved in there. So when you really do your homework, and when you listen to lots of native speakers from everywhere that your ancestry might take you, and you have that sort of arsenal to pull from of sounds that you can pull out of your head. Like the way we treat it in the dialect masterclass that I teach is like, how like you probably, I don't know, England is probably different, but in my childhood, there's like the Bud Dry commercial, and he likes it. Hey, Mikey. Like we have all these phrases that were like metaphorically, surgically implanted in our subconscious when we were like too young to defend ourselves. And so you have all this shit in your brain already, right? That was put there for you. So what we do in class is replace those things with stuff that we want in there, that we can pull from in the booth like instantly. So instead of why ask why, try Bud Dry, I have, is that an ambulance you're driving? Oh, I think that's just wonderful. And I use her for age. I use her for her laugh. I use her for the plantation Southern non-rhotic dialect. I mix and match, so that's how I approach it.
Amazing. I love it. So interesting, fascinating. Alan, have we got some questions?
Oh, yes, we do. So this one's from Jeremy. If your ancestry is Indian, but you look very white, is it safe to audition for an Indian role?
Yes, and there is this imposter syndrome that permeates everyone right now, which is, it's so funny to me because, I've clearly voiced I played Rama in, what was it? Mayhem. It was Agents of Mayhem. I did a Hindi character, right? And it was many years ago, and I'm not going to be doing that anytime soon. I've done my last character of color. This is a really good thing that's happening, where representation has become the priority, and that's awesome. But the people who have the ethnicity in their blood that are allowed to and that these roles are available to are also feeling like imposters. Some of my students, I have a Chinese student who speaks Vietnamese, and I have a Vietnamese student who speaks Chinese, and they don't speak their native language or whatever, and so they feel like, or like a mixed, African American actress who's like, I grew up surrounded by white people in Kansas. I don't talk this way, and a dialect is a dialect, right? And so she's like, oh, they're going to be on to me because I'm not really black, but but right now I'm telling you guys, anything you have in your blood, even if you're green, skinned. Even if you look like Kermit the Frog, if you've got, you know, an ancestor who is, you know, German or speaks Punjabi or any of that, you get to do it still. You still get to act. And right now you get to do anything that's in your blood.
Definitely. And I want to jump in and just tell people, because I often see this, that people don't put it on their website. So please put your ancestry on your website. If you do have, you know, put that on the homepage of your website, so that when people are looking for, you know, for somebody who's got that, that background, then they know that they can use you.
Yeah, and it's tough for everybody, you know, like the casting people are scared, everybody's scared. And they're not allowed to, like, SAG and AFTRA are not allowed to ask you your ethnicity. It's illegal. They're not allowed to. So so it's very touchy, and they're afraid to ask, but they need to know, and you know, and nobody wants to offend anybody, and nobody wants to break the law. So any way that you can help by putting on your dance card or your website, you know, expert in German, like for me it would be German and Czechoslovakian and whatever else I've got, you know, and become an expert in those things. Like use this opportunity to become a master. I mean, there are 27 different Southern dialects in my first module of my Southern American dialects, like throughout the American South. There's so many distinctions, and there's so many like cool little nuances. I mean, you know, you're from West Country, right? Your family's from there, right?
Me, I'm from London. I'm from London.
Did you say your West Country comes out sometimes?
I do. I just do that when I'm in a good mood. It just comes out. It's just, I just like it. It's just yeah. It's just a wonderful accent. I just love doing it. No, I love doing it.
England, like England, we have as an umbrella. You have so much that you can explore there. And if you just say, oh yeah, I'm from the UK, you know, and then you can do all those different voices.
Well, I mean,
study that your whole life.
Because in London, I mean, the accents change. You know, you go down the road and they're different. So there are so many different accents just within London. It's I think it's fascinating. I love accents.
But to answer the question, yes, you have permission to do anything that's in your blood, even if you don't look the part, or if you don't feel like you grew up around it, or it's not, it's yours. Claim it. Claim it.
Do it.
And you're doing people a favor by becoming a master of whatever it is that you have, because that you're the person that they're allowed to cast.
Yeah. Awesome. Wonderful. I'm going to jump in before, and I'm just going to say social media, guys, just saying #Von webinar. There we go. Alan, more questions?
Yeah, so I think I've put the hashtag in the chat. So this is a question from Brady, and though he's asked it specifically for his situation, I think a lot of people experience this. So coming from a stage acting background, often the feedback is that's too over the top. So how do you go from having stage experience to creating an emotionally grounded character, and how does that translate in the booth?
Well, I personally think that emotionally grounded and animated are not mutually exclusive. I'm a very animated person. When I do on camera, or God forbid, like film, like big screen stuff, like it's all I can do to rein myself in, because an eye movement can be like 5 feet of screen, right? So at UCLA, when I was studying film acting, it was like so unnatural to me to like rein it in, you know. But I think that you can bring that stage experience, especially if you've like studied Grotowski and Stanislavski and, you know, all these different sort of approaches to having an emotionally grounded, connected character. There's so many different windows into that. Like Richard Horvitz teaches just play, like how a kid on the playground is just going to be like, I am Batman. They're not going to be like, was my Batman as good as his Batman? Because I don't know, you know. So there's so many ways to like keep that grounding. I wouldn't worry so much about like the difference between the stage style and like the filmic style in voiceover and animation. I mean, there is a big difference with the styles in games versus animation, and animation and theater are very similar in terms of the acting style and the level of projection and the sort of heightened caricaturized elements to it. But in terms of having an emotionally grounded performance, that feeds theater, and that feeds animation, that feeds games. That's like what you always need. You know, for everything. That's what makes an audience want to listen and watch.
And I guess also, if you know, just being, you know, you be truthful. You know, it's acting is about truthfulness, it's about being in the moment, and it's about connection. So nice, good stuff. And just in terms of training, how important would you say training is?
Well, I think I mean, I started training when I was like 7, and I never stopped. Like for me, I train when I'm teaching. Like teaching is a teacher for me. I think training is imperative. I think it would be like anything else. It'd be like trying to be an astronaut without having any training, you know. Training is I mean, when we were in theater school, it was like, we will always stay in class. Like when you're in class, you realize how important that is to keep your channel open and to have that support system and to gain new skill sets and insights, because this is an incredibly competitive business. And so why wouldn't you be always taking on new skill sets and really, like, you know, expanding your repertoire and making yourself, again, it's a service occupation, so making yourself the missing link that a casting director or a director is going to be like ecstatic to discover.
Nice, amazing. Well, on that note, who here would be interested in doing an online workshop with Eliza? Just go to the chat box now if that's something that you would be interested in doing. We just want to know, just wondering if how many of you would be interested in an online workshop with Eliza. Oh my gosh, there is like 1 million yeses coming in. Wow, lots and lots of yeses. Yes, definitely me. Yes, please. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we've got hell yeah, yes. Well, guys, as it happens, Eliza's going to teach a workshop for the Voiceover Network. So excited. Yes. Guys, we have an online workshop with Eliza Schneider, and Alan's going to jump in and tell us the information. There are limited tickets. So there are you guys who done works, you members, you guys all know how this works, but we've got reader tickets and we've got watcher tickets. So there are going to be only 10 reader tickets available. Those readers are going to get the opportunity to read scripts with Eliza and get feedback. And then there'll be watchers. There are 10 watcher tickets as well. So those are people who come and who won't read, but you get to watch and ask questions. So, both tickets are incredibly valuable. There are limited amounts. So if you want one, you're going to have to be quick. You guys know these tickets will sell out very, very fast. So don't hang around if you want to grab one. Now, Alan's going to jump in and tell us a bit more information.
Yes, so the workshop is going to be on July 22nd. It's going to be 6 p.m. UK time, which is 10 a.m. PST, LA time, and that is 1 p.m. EST, New York time. I'm going to put the link in the chat in a moment. Prices for the tickets are: a watcher ticket is $172. A reader ticket is $339. If you are a member of the Voiceover Network, I am going to put in a promo code into the chat so that you can receive your 20% members only discount. If you're not a member of the Voiceover Network, don't use that promo code because we will know. But if you aren't a member of the Voiceover Network, do stay behind at the end, and me and Rachel have something very special for you. So the link and the promo code are in the chat.
Go, guys. This is going to sell out. It's just a matter of when. The other thing I just wanted to mention is that I understand anyone who's watching this who's thinking that's too much and financial finance issues. I've been there. I know what it's like, and it's tricky. So I don't want anybody not to do this workshop due to financial restrictions, let's say. So if we can help you out. We can do split payments, payment plans. All you need to do is email workshops@thevoiceovernetwork.co.uk. So that's workshops@thevoiceovernetwork.co.uk, and we will help you and get you on this course and sort you out with a payment plan. So yes, please don't let that stop you. You know, it's so important. I really want those of you that want to do this course, we want to make it happen. We want you to be able to grab hold of this amazing opportunity to work with Eliza. And yes, so tell us a bit about the actual workshop, Eliza.
Okay, so which one did I give you? I teach so many, and
Alan.
Finding your voices, finding your voice. So
yeah.
that's going to be the sort of overview introduction to all the different things that I teach. So if I'm going to pay very close attention to my participants, and I ask for like a little note from them about what their challenges are, what they want, and what they're working on. So for example, if I have a participant with a very thick Nigerian accent who wants to try to master their general American pronunciation in a piece of copy and is particularly inclined towards video games, we will come up with copy for that, and we'll like work with your individual proclivities and what you want to achieve in finding your voices. But if you're somebody who's like, I am a utility voice, I want to do all the female characters in the next South Park, and I've got this huge range, and you know, usually when I teach a workshop, I ask for a demo too from my participants. So if you have a demo that's got like this huge wild range, then what we could do is work with you on like really dialing them in. And if games is your bag, then we'll try to dial you in to pass as a local. So I used to teach at UCLA a course called Playing the American, Acting with or Without an Accent. So it's really just a matter of like the skill set of adjusting the character voice, whether it's a dialect or just a character voice, right? And then seamlessly sort of blending that into the acting experience and getting to the point where you can forget about the accent and just act and have that be just another tool in your tool set. So so that's what we'll play with. And of course, if you're just dabbling and you're like, oh, I just love the Scottish accent so much and I butcher it, but I love butchering it. You know, and my great-great-grandmother was, you know, part of the whole, you know, battle at Culloden. I don't know. There probably weren't any great-great-grandmothers battling at Culloden. Anyways, you know, then you want to work on that, we could do that too.
Amazing.
In animation, kind of anything goes.
Fantastic. Exciting. Wow. So yes, anyone who wants to grab a ticket, they're selling fast. Alan, where are we at?
I can see the tickets selling fast, as you mentioned. Yep. There's a small handful left.
Okay, cool. Exciting. So yes, Alan, have we got some more questions?
Yeah, we certainly do. I've heard that it takes 6 months to correctly learn an accent. Is that true?
Okay, so there's an approach that's been very popular in academia and in theater departments, and it surrounds sound. It's called sound substitutions, they call it, and you learn the International Phonetic Alphabet, the IPA. You learn this sort of system of coding sounds and recreating like a puzzle the way a character's voice sounds. And in my experience, that puts an actor in the wrong hemisphere of their brain. And with recent brain research, those hemispheres are mutually exclusive, which is why you cannot simultaneously direct yourself and act. There's the flow part, that's the right brain. And then there's the left brain, which is the analytical part, right? And that intuitive part and the analytical part they're mutually exclusive. So you have to do your analytical stuff either so far in advance that it becomes second nature, like practicing the piano and practicing your scales and learning to read notes and all that stuff. You do that well in advance. You can think of it like music, right? So learning to play the instrument itself, learning about your instrument, that's a lifelong pursuit. It takes well more than 6 months. But learning an accent, to me, if you're already adept at playing the violin, it takes you a couple weeks to learn a new piece of music on the violin because your fingers know the scales and you know where to go. Right? So if I have done my homework and am acquainted with my instrument and I do this looping method that I developed for the South Park voices and ended up using for the Keira Knightley stuff for the Pirates franchise. It basically, as it turns out, and I only found this out after presenting this method at the Voice and Speech Teachers Association conference in Singapore and having Doran Oram, professor from was it University College London or something? I don't know. It's some big fancy, English thing. And he was like, there's brain science behind why your methods work so well. And I was like, ooh, goody, brain science. That's lovely. But what we do is we put the native speaker's sample in our left ear, which goes into the right brain, and we repeat it. I loop it 14 times. I mute numbers 4, 6, 8, and 10. And I get into a mindless chant, like a monkey or a baby, like how babies learn accents in the wild. And I have found with my students over, 20 years of teaching, 30 years of research, that it eliminates the dialect acquisition time by about 90%. Like I do this so I don't have to spend as much time teaching. And it's a method that once my students get used to it, or if I just give you a springboard loop that takes you about 30 seconds, you do this 3 times for 3 days. And by the time my students are done with this, I only have to correct like 5 to 15% of what they're doing instead of the whole thing. And I think this 6-month approach involves like learning the IPA, then going through the entire list of the 16 general American, standard American English vowels, the front vowels, the central vowels, the back vowels. And I think it's backwards. I think this approach is backwards because basically what they're saying is you give sound A, you substitute it with sound B. So you'll go through these dialects, these classic dialect tapes, and they'll be like, the thought set, or, and then they'll be like, thought, lawn, and like they'll go through this thing, and by the time you're done with it, you're like, I want to kill myself, and you're like peeling yourself like a banana because it's just mind numbing, and it's repetitive, and it's all the bad things, about learning, as opposed to just, is that an ambulance you're driving? Just taking someone on and sort of channeling them and allowing your face to do the work for you without thinking about it first. Yeah. So I have this 3-prong approach where we do that looping method first. That's the auditory part of the method. And it's really just plagiarized from the Suzuki violin method, which I've been doing since I was 7. But the second thing we do is once we do that, then you can get a coach or a musician to identify the discrepancies, the remaining discrepancies. And then you learn like 3 symbols instead of learning like 16. Or 80 or whatever the dialect requires. Like Korean has like 3 consonants for every single consonant of ours. It's intensely complex depending on like what part of the word and everything. But that's my job, is like knowing the context in which the pronunciations vary, right? But your job is just to mimic the first time around, and then the second time around, take what I've given you for the corrections, and then drill those things, like doing reps. You drill like 3 or 4 sounds that you're just missing, and then when you get your script, you score those 3 or 4 sounds, you find them, you identify the rhyming words, and you've already got the musculature that you've had to develop in the drilling. So that's the kinesthetic part. So the visual part is like the 3 symbols that you have to learn for the things you're still missing after the auditory process. And then the kinesthetic part is knowing what that symbol means in terms of the position of your tongue in your mouth.
Amazing. Awesome. Incredible. That's
and yes,
brilliant.
If you have 6 months to study, definitely there is a course of study you can do that prepares you for almost anything in 6 months. But if you have 2 days and it's animation, you can, what my colleague Jane Fujita at NYU says, pick 6 for the quick fix, because there are 6 signature sounds that are going to help identify that character as Punjabi or Hindi or Cantonese speaking,
Yeah.
there are some regions in China that like have very distinctive phonemes that you can tell where somebody's from, and it seems like magic, but it's just that people from there speak that way. I'm sure the same thing happens all over England.
Yeah.
There's certain idiosyncratic sounds that they're from there, and you pick like
Yes.
5 or 6 of those, and
Yeah.
that's good enough for animation. Because
Yeah.
by definition, an accent is imperfection, and any mistake you make as the actor trying to do the foreign accent is a victory for your character trying to speak English with a neutral accent.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Because nobody's accent, that's it. It goes back to, nobody's perfect, and nobody, none of us have a kind of, perfect accent. We've all got blended accents. So yeah. So that's really nice to kind of, because I know, I've been in a situation before where I've been doing an accent and you get two in your head and you start listening and you start thinking about what it sounds like, and then you lose the character and then you're gone, and then you're on a slippery slope. So it's a dance kind of thing that
it's an art. And even one of the things I'm always telling my students is that it's the inconsistencies that make a dialect authentic. There are some coaches out there, really high profile coaches, that are sticklers about sound substitutions. Like, you always say it this way. And that's just not true. Like, the same dude is going to say, I'm pretty tired. And that's a pretty horse, So you hear pretty and purdy in the same sentence. And sometimes they'll switch them. That's what makes a person sound like a person.
Yeah.
And not a robot.
Absolutely. Alan, how are we doing?
It is pretty much sold out. I think we have like 1 ticket left.
The reader tickets?
Correct. Yes, the reader tickets.
Oh, wonderful. Very exciting. Amazing. There are still watcher ticket guys, but I think the reader ticket, I think we've got, there was a split play, somebody who's emailed in for a split. So I think that that means the reader tickets are sold out. Yay! Reader tickets for that workshop are sold out, which is amazing. Well done if you managed to get a ticket. Now I know lots more of you would like a ticket to that workshop. You weren't quite as quick to grab your ticket. So please, Eliza, would you do a second date for us?
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Excellent. Okay, guys. So Alan, we've got second date?
Yes, so same prices, same times, same promo code, different link, and it is on August 3rd. There's the link to the promo code.
3rd of August. Amazing. Excellent. There we go, guys. So jump in, grab your ticket. Again, email us at workshops@thevoiceovernetwork.co.uk if you wanted to do a payment plan. But yes, grab your tickets, because those will, if there are any left, they will go on general kind of release tomorrow. But yes, you guys get first dibs because you came to the webinar, you have joined us, so well done, guys. You get first chance to grab yourself a ticket to one of these amazing workshops, and we're so excited, Eliza, to have you teach for us. I can't wait. Everybody, you're in for an amazing treat. So wonderful.
And I mean, I know that we haven't been able to like address everybody's questions, and there's so many amazing people in this webinar. Thank you so much for joining this webinar and opening your minds and hearts to this work. It's my life's joy to be able to help people with this stuff. I mean, I would sit in the lobby at William Morris and I'd coach my competition for hours. Like, no, let me just help you with Swedish. No, but I love meeting people from all over the world and teaching them. So I'm really excited to meet you guys.
Yes,
and
definitely.
Can I give them a way of reaching me if they want to reach me directly?
Yeah.
So if you, I mean, I'm accessible through assistant at Competitive Edge Voice. So if you have any questions that didn't get answered here, I'm happy to answer your questions. If you go to assistant at competitiveedgevoice.com, I would give you my personal email, but I never read those. But
no.
my assistant will point you out to me and call
Fantastic.
it out for me and force me to pay attention to everything that came in at least once a week.
Yay, wonderful, wonderful. And if you're not a member of the Voiceover Network, don't go anywhere. Stay exactly where you are. I've got something very special for you that I would like to share with you and see how I can help you take your career to the next level. So also please do get on social media, everyone. Jump on Twitter, Instagram stories, tag me, tag the Voiceover Network. Use the hashtag Von Webinar and we will retweet, reshare, like, comment, and all that jazz. And you're on social media, Eliza?
I am trying to learn.
Okay, don't worry. No, I don't want to put you on the spot. Don't worry.
No, I'm Eliza
Jane
Jane 2020 on most things. And if you guys have seen me posting, I can't really see. I'm trying to put that email address in the chat for you guys because somebody said to put it in the chat. Oh, and then somebody did it. Oh, Joanne. Hi, Joanne.
Oh, nice.
I love you, Joanne. I think I did that right.
Yay.
Yes, I tweet. I do the tweeting sometimes. I'm learning. I am in the market for a social media expert. So reach out to me if you want to help an old lady.
Amazing. Well, yes. And as I said, guys, stick around. If you're not a member of the Voiceover Network, we've got something for you. Next week on the Voiceover Hour live webinar, we have Tom Deere. That's right, isn't it, Alan?
Yep.
Yes, Tom Deere is joining us next week, which is going to be wonderful, talking all about marketing. So do make sure you join us for that. You can register for it via the voiceovernetwork.co.uk website. Just go to the Voiceover Hour and you can register for it there. Thank you, everybody from around the world, for joining us. It's been such an honor to have you on this Voiceover Hour live webinar. We've talked about so many different things, and I know we could carry on for hours and hours, but it has been brilliant. Thank you, Alan.
No, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
And thank you, Eliza. Thank you so much for being such an amazing guest on the Voiceover Hour live webinar.
Well, thanks for what you do. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's amazing. All these people that they're introducing you guys to, they're the real deal, man. They're the ones who are working and know what's up. So good on you for being here. Bye, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Eliza. And I can't wait for your workshop.
Me neither.
Yay.
Bye.
Wonderful. Take care. Thank you. Bye. Wowza, guys. Oh my gosh. What an